Break that verse down for us. Here is verse 10. There are also 7 kings, 5 have fallen, past tense, 1 is present tense, and the other has not yet come, future tense. Now, this is, the tenses are based on where John is at this particular time. This is 1st century when he's writing these things under the inspiration of the Spirit. So first, let's talk about what are the 5 that have fallen. What he's talking about are 5 world-dominating empires. Historically speaking, these are the 5 world-dominating empires that have come and gone from the vantage point of where John is here. Egypt, Assyria, Babylonia, the Medo-Persian Empire, and the Greek Empire. Those 5 empires have come and gone, even from where John is. And then when he says 1 is, what was the world empire at the time that John is writing this? The Roman Empire. So 1 is Rome. But then he says, and the other has not yet come. Now, when you look further, and it talks about how this other one, when he comes, he must continue a short time. And it says in verse 11, the beast, that is the Antichrist, that was and is not, is himself also the 8th, and is of the 7, and is going to perdition. So, of the 7, 5 have come, 1 is, that's the 6th. There's this 7th world-dominating empire that is going to come. And when it tells us there in verse 11 that the Antichrist...
All right, shalom, all praises to Yahweh, B'Shem, Yahweh Shai, B'Shem, Kakadash, double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who will and teach well who taught us his truth. This is your brother Yeshemai from the JMS Atlantic Camp in a continuation on Revelation 17. And, still following this guy here on his video with the false understanding that Christianity has to offer. Now, I left off where he's at in the 10th verse. So we'll go ahead, go back here, and, we'll get the right understanding because, I'm actually surprised that he did admit that one of the beasts was the Roman Empire, man. And again, that's, Scripture says that their tongues would fall upon themselves, man. Right? The wicked is being revealed unto us, man. Right? Doesn't the Scripture also say, you shall know a tree by its fruits? Right? Rome are Edomites, self-proclaimed whites. And Rome has been revived and is ruled again by the self-proclaimed whites, man. And from that beast system is where the Antichrist would come, right? Which, it's talking about the devil. So, let me superimpose that. Rome is the initial a dragon, which turned into a beast, which is America, right? America and its beast system, through the NATO and the EU. And from that same Roman Empire, the Antichrist, the devil, would come. So that would lead you to believe that the Antichrist, that the devil is the white man. I mean, the Scripture tells you that, right? So now let's go back into verse 9. It says, and here is a mind which has wisdom. And again, these people don't have wisdom. The Most High is not dealing with these people. All right? Psalms. Let's get there. I keep paraphrasing. What the wicked to do with my word? What psalm is that? Psalms 50. I was going to say Psalms 49. But unto the wicked the Most High says, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou should take my covenant in thy mouth? The Most High is not dealing with these people. Seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee. These Edomites, want to sit here and, try to talk about our word, but they don't want to, they hate instruction. Go and tell these Edomites to leave Venezuela alone. No. They're going to give you every reason as to why they got to go take that country's oil. Go and tell these Christian churches what the word of Yahweh Shai says, that salvation is only for the Israelites. They cast that behind them, man. So the Most High is not dealing with these people. It says, when thou sawest a thief, thou consented with him, and has been partakers with adulterers. They've been They've been part of the chastisement. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frames deceit. All these people all do is, talk about taking over another country, whether it's Greenland, whether it's Canada, whether it's the Panama Canal, or whether it's Venezuela. As the scripture in Nahum, the third chapter says, the prey that does not depart. Man, these people are always at war. But yet, here these people are trying to give us the understanding on our own scriptures, man. That's the blasphemy, man. That's the blasphemy spoken about in Revelations, the 13th chapter, and also the blasphemy spoken about in this, full of names of blasphemy, man. Let's get back to the scriptures here. It says the seven heads or seven mountains on which the woman sits, and we can get what is that? Daniel, no, Isaiah 2. Let's get Isaiah 2, because that's a good example of mountains being used as governments. All right, Isaiah 2:2 says, "And it shall come to pass on the last day that the mountain." What does the Most High have a specific mountain? No, it's talking about the government. That the government of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's house shall be established in the top of the mountain. So this government is going to be the kingdom is going to be established on top, just as America right now rides the beast. The government of Yasharallah, starting with Yahweh Shai, King David, and then the 144, that government is going to be at the top of all of the other governments. It says, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all the nations shall flow unto it. And, we see many examples of mountains and hills, likened, used amongst like governmental meetings. Like, for example, you got the G20 summit. It's a summit, it's a mountain of all the, nations. You know, then you've got things like I forget the other one, but it's like the pinnacle or something like that. But that's just a quick precept, to show that mountains are governments, and that's important because now we're going to get the understanding on verse 10, because the seven kings are all part of the beast system. And those seven kings, as mentioned in the previous videos, those seven kings, right, or those seven heads, are the Greeks, the Romans, Germania Minor, Germania Major, the French, the Spaniards, and the British. Okay, those are those kings. Okay, and they are all Edomites. They are all of the white race. Okay, now let's get into into verse 10. It says, and there are seven kings, five are fallen. Now, who are those fallen kings? It's not what that guy mentioned. It's not Assyria. All right, because Assyria is not part of the beast system. It's not part of the Roman Empire, man. The Medo-Persians are not part of this, man. All of this goes back to one group of people. Okay, so the five, it says five are fallen. Okay, so the five that are fallen, again, those are the Spaniards, the Greeks, the French, Germania Minor, and Germania Major. And I pulled up a couple of them. The Gauls. Because one thing that he did mention, which is right, that the vision that John got was given under the was given during the first century. So, somebody might come up and say, oh, well, the French, they didn't come up until around the 1400s, 1500s. Oh, well, yes, the French didn't come up until that time, but they were a people prior to that. All right, the Gauls, which are where the French come from. The Gauls are a group of Celtic peoples who inhabited Gaul, a region that included modern-day France, as part of the of neighboring countries. Okay, it says right here, their history is marked by conflicts with the Romans, most notably during Julius Caesar's conquest. So the French is one of them that fell. The other one, who were the Germans before the German Empire, because Germania Minor and Germania Major, these are the Franks, also in conflict with the Roman Empire. Do you see how they all link together to be part of this? To be part of the same group of people. I think I had one more. Who were the Spaniards? The Spaniards again were Iberians who lived among the Mediterranean coast. All right, so all these people were alive during the time of the ancient Roman Empire. So again, those five that fell were the Spaniards, Germania Minor, Germania Major, the French, and the Greeks. These all fell to Rome. Okay, so now let's go back into the scripture. It says, where are we at? Yeah. And one is now, he got that one right. One is that's the Roman Empire, because the Roman Empire was on and thriving when John was getting the vision. It says, and the other is not yet to come. Now, this other one that is not yet to come, that's the British Empire. Okay, that's the British Empire, and when he cometh, he must continue a short space, because we know that America was birthed through the British Empire. Daniel, the seventh chapter, goes into it, talks about the three horns, right? It talks about the three horns, and one was more mighty than the others, and the other ones fell. Well, those three horns are talking about the French, the Spaniards, and the British, but they fell to the American Empire. All right, so the British, when it talks about a short space, that's talking about the British Empire. Okay, verse 11. Okay, it says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth. So what does that talk about? The beast that was, okay, and is not, that's talking about the British Empire. Even he is the eighth, because out of the British Empire comes America. That's the eighth. And he is of the seven, right? Because they are all Edomites. All right, it says, and goes into perdition. And I brought that out in the previous video. All right, Second Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there coming falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And the man of sin would be revealed in the end times. Matter of fact, let's get that. Habakkuk 2. Uh, where we at? Habakkuk 2 KJV, and then that brings it up. Habakkuk 2. It says, for the vision is yet for unappointed time. See, just as the British Empire hadn't been, there were certain things that had to take place for these truths to be revealed unto us. For the vision is yet for unappointed time, and that vision is now. Now we have the understanding. See, prior we were at one point like these Christians. We didn't have the understanding. Revelations 11 talks about our dead bodies. That our dead bodies is us without the understanding, right? He that wanders out of the congregation of the dead. I mean, he that wanders out of the congregate. He that wanders out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Those dead bodies is us without the understanding, because we did wander out. It says, but at the end it shall speak, and these scriptures are speaking, because as we can link it up through historical context, and as we can link it up with other precepts, there's no way to deny the 100% truth given by the elders and the apostles of GMS. It says, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, and it will not tarry. So the visions are being made manifest, man. Now it says, and his other seventh, and goes into perdition. So the reason that we brought those scriptures up is because now it's been revealed who the eighth is. And the last thing to happen is that for him to go into perdition. And that word perdition, matter of fact, we'll just get it. Perdition, etymology. Let's get that. It says condition of damnation, spiritual ruin, state of the souls of the wicked. All right, and that's exactly what these people are. The wicked for the day of evil. Let's get that. Proverbs 16 and 4. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has made all things for himself, yet even the wicked for the day of evil. He's made these people to go into perdition, to go into a condition of damnation. Obadiah 1 and 18. His seed is spoiled and he is not, man. That's I mentioned that in another video I did, man. Esau's business plan is destruction, man. That's really what it's going into. uh, doesn't Malachi 1, though they rebuild, I will tear down. That's that deadly wound. Now let's continue on. It says, he must, I don't know, and he goes into perdition, verse 12. It says, let's get 12 and 13. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So these 10 kings is the EU, is the United Nations, who let America run the agenda, man. Okay, because these man, and I I had that pulled up, right? Yeah, right here. This is an image of the people that are lining up that give their power unto the whore, as mentioned in the scriptures. It says, which have received no kingdom as yet. Why? Because even though they have their own land, um, even though they have their own land, they're not in control, man. Their kingdom is in control of America. Look at, I mean, ask Greece, Greece or Switzerland. Greece or Switzerland doesn't have an army. Doesn't have an army or a navy, something like that. I forget which one it is. Switzerland does not have a military navy. All right, and so how is Switzerland protected? It's protected by America. All right, says the 10 ones which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom, but receive power as kings. Right, a perfect example which we just brought out here, Switzerland. Right, it gives it its power, and they have power with the kings for 1 hour, which is a short time. Says these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast, man, and that's reminiscent of wisdom of Solomon 2. So, yeah, there you go, Solomon 2. Says, for the ungodly said, reasoning within themselves, and this is we're using this to for the EU. Says, for the ungodly said, reasoning within themselves, but not right, our life is short and tedious. And as the scripture said, their life is short. See, to us, this thing seems like it's going on forever, but this is only 1 hour. It says they receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast, and that's beautifully with wisdom of Solomon too. Our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. So they have gathered together in one accord, as mentioned in Psalms the 83rd chapter, right? To all what? To all come against the Israelites, man. Matter of fact, they have said, aha, let's get that. Psalms 35 and 21. Yea, they have opened their mouth wide against me and said, aha, our eye has seen it. All right. And that's what they think, man. They think that this is it. They think that, this is their glory, man. But as the scripture says, man, they're only in power for 1 hour, man. Verse 13 says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. We already got that. It says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. All right. And that war is, I mean, we see a snippet of it in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. 2nd Ezra 13, KJV. And it says right here, it says, and verse 3, it says, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. Well, that man is that Lamb. That man is Yahushua. What, with the thousands of heaven? That kind of sounds familiar, don't it? Well, let's see right here. It says, and I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, right? That's a fathership. That's a chariot, a so-called UFO. And he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, right? The Lamb, Yahushua, the Son of Man, and in righteousness he does judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and his head were of many crowns, which, on his head is many crowns. That's, symbolic of him taking the power, taking the power from all these kingdoms. And he has a name written that no man knew but himself. Here's the point here. It says, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Those horses are the chariots, and that lines up perfectly with Zechariah 13 and 3. It says, and the man waxed stronger with the thousands of heaven, as we just read. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. And after, let's jump to verse 5. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea, right? Because that's what we're going into. We're going into these people making war with the Lamb. And, isn't it beautiful that everything lines up when you have the understanding? Because it says right here, in verse 5, it says, together a multitude of men. That's reminiscent of Ecclesiastes 3, I think it's 18 or 16. Uh, 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 3:18. I said in mine heart concerning the estates of the sons of men, that the Most High might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. The sons of men are these other heathen nations, okay? But ultimately, we know that it's going to be Esau, Edom, and these other heathens, men, the sons of men. That's the point I'm trying to make here. It's the sons of men. Um, it says to subdue. It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. It says, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, because these people are going to come against him. It says he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. So Yahweh Shai is not coming with a Gatling gun. All right, he's the scripture says he shall not meet thee as a man. See, the Most High is not coming in actual horses, man. He's coming because that's meeting him as a man. I mean, really, that if he's coming on a literal horse, that's meeting him as less than a man, because a horse is a weapon of war, but nobody goes to war with horses now. They have aircraft carriers, so yeah, it it just goes to show that he's not coming on an actual horse. He's coming on a chariot. He's coming on something out of this world, man. He shall not meet thee as a man. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest, man. And this is Independence Day film. This is, this is what it's talking about. This is what's to happen, man. This is what Second Ezra saw, man. A tempest of fire and destruction, man. These elites know the scriptures, man. They're faithful and true, as is the name of Yahweh Shai. It says, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful, right? So those that are ultimately, as I mentioned in the previous verse, man, the elect are those that are called and chosen, because the scripture says many are called but few are chosen, man. And that is why it's our humble prayer that we remain in this truth, man, because a lot have been called, man, but our prayer is that we be chosen, right? It says and faithful. And and that's also our prayer, is that we remain faithful. They love not their lives, uh their lives uh their lives until death. KJV. Revelation 12:11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. And, going into us praying that, we be faithful, that we be faithful unto the end, man, because as Revelation 3:10, there's a time that's coming to try the entire world, man. And our prayer is that we be found faithful. Let's see here. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, which where the horse sits, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. We got that in the previous verse, which again, it shows that America is Babylon. It's not literal Babylon being rebuilt. No, America sits on many people, on many nations. They got the most army bases. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So what's that talking about, man? Second Ezra's 13:6 or 16:3? 16. 16:3. I know it's in that verse. Let's just get that. But many, the Lord of the earthquake, for behold, right, 16 and 13. That's my dyslexia, Salakia. It says, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shoots are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. So we bring this precept up because it goes right in hand with these other with these EU, the very same thing that the very same power that this bastard is using to stay in power is going to take him out. It says that these other nations are going to hate the whore. They're going to hate America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And that's through, those ICBMs. That's those ICBMs. That's the arrows being shot. You know, oh, ICBM, that's not scripture. Of course it is, because how else can you explain 2 Peter 3 and 10? It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervor and heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Right? It says the elements are going to burn. Zechariah, uh, their eyes shall melt. KJV. In their skull. Yeah. Zechariah 14 and 12. Again, this is what happens through the ICBMs. It says, and this shall be the plague wherein Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Didn't we just read that? It says, these shall make war with the Lamb. All right. It says, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Two scriptures right here that paint the picture of ICBMs. And we can get Isaiah, what is that, Jeremiah 51 and 1, or if not Jeremiah 51, yeah, right here, Jeremiah 51. It says, thus saith Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. So America's being destroyed, man. By that, that's what that destroying wind is going into. So ultimately, yeah, matter of fact, I want to get that precept too. He that diggeth a pit, because it says Proverbs 26:27, whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein. He that rolleth a stone, it will return upon him. Because again, the same the same politics nations that are upholding this whore is the very same thing that is going to destroy her, man. It says right here, says, for the Most High has put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High should be fulfilled. Right, and doesn't the scripture say the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh Yahushai? All right. Matter of fact, let's get that in Ezekiel 38. Evil thought. Straight to the point. 38 and 10. KJV. Let's put it up on the screen. It says, thus saith the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. All right. And so we bring this up because it says right here, the Most High has put it in their hearts to fulfill his will. That evil thought being put into, Gog, Russia, is coming straight from Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. It's his will. It's his will that Babylon, America, be destroyed, man. So where do these Christians get off, saying that we got to pray for America? That's going against the will. It says, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. So, ultimately, this is their appointed time. This is their appointed time where they get to rule over us, man. But as the scripture says, the Most High likens his judgment unto a ring. What goes around comes around. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city. The woman is America. The woman is Babylon, which reigns over the kings of the earth. And does not America reign over the kings of the earth? Did not Trump over the weekend let's go ahead and close out with this. Trump closes. Look at that. Trump declares that airspace around Venezuela should be considered closed. I mean, this is the guy that America rules over the kings of the earth. This guy shut down the airspace, man. Let me see here. Uh, there was a image where you can see the planes. Um, uh, Video of Venezuela airspace closed. Yeah, there's a video right here. Check this out. Nothing, man. There's nothing all around there. All right. I mean, what else do you need for for you to see that let me see here. What's up? Uh, what else do you need for you to to see that America is the one that rules over the kings, man? He shut down that airspace. I'm not gonna let this damn ad play. But hey, that's Revelation 17. Hopefully this has been edifying. Until the next one, shalom.